There's a lot of speculation on what Google will offer or should offer with Stadia in 2020. With an endless amount of possibilities, here are the three biggest things we think, if they stay on schedule, that will be coming to the platform in 2020. I warn you, this list may shock a lot of you, but it will be a fun discussion nonetheless. Let's get into it.
Stay sick cause I follow my gut. They say I was pushing my luck. I'ma push me a matte all black truck. Oh, I'm not sorry.
What's up, people? What's up, people? What's up, people? It's your boy, Mib2K, back again with another episode of the Stadia Dosage. Do us a huge favor. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Rock those bells for notifications, please, so you know when your boy's dropping these doses. I appreciate all of y'all straight up. Y'all know the deal. Y'all know the reason, and y'all know the slogan. I'm not too proud to ask. Let's get into it. All right, y'all. So here's the deal. Again, we're in a situation in 2020 where even though I think if you're looking at this through the proper lens, not rose-colored lenses, that you realize that Stadia, even though the tech is fantastic, and for someone like myself, it has spoiled me to where I don't even want to play on consoles or play on daddy devices, it's not a premier gaming solution as of yet. And Stadia is okay with that because they got to build the platform from somewhere. And building a cloud gaming platform, a sole cloud gaming platform at that, has to work a little bit differently than a dedicated device platform. Why? Because there are not specifications or static specifications that they can just rely on for the next 3 or 4 years. This thing is ever changing, ever evolving. There's a certain way you got to roll this out, data you got to collect, things to upgrade, then you can make a bigger rollout. And that's what Stadia is doing, and I think they're doing it a smart way. The communication hasn't always been the best, but I think as far as rolling out the tech, they're doing the right thing. That being said, there are definitely some things in 2020, despite this being the data collection phase or not, there are some things that they need to release in 2020. They got to stay on the proper track as far as we're concerned. And we're going to go through those 3 things. Now, I'm not saying these are the only things, but these are the top 3 things, and they're likely to spawn a lot of controversy. All right, but bear with me. All right, number 3, Chromecast stream integration. All right, here's the deal, y'all. Streaming of Stadia's games is the biggest asset the platform has as far as features, as far as I'm concerned, because it makes streaming so much easier, especially at a high fidelity, high performance level. You got PC, where it gives you the best performance of anything right now, but when you're trying to stream from PC, you know what I'm saying, and you're using your same decoder or codec that you're using to play your games with, y'all know what I'm talking about. For those of y'all that use Streamlabs, it becomes a mess. Frames drop, whole bunch of crazy stuff happens. Stadia is light on the resources. You don't have those problems. And that was one of the biggest draws that I had to the platform. Now, with that being said, I know a lot of other people think that features like crowd play and some of the other stuff, crowd share, are the biggest features to come. But I think that the biggest feature to come to the platform is just the simple ability to stream from your Chromecast Ultra. Why? Because the Chromecast Ultra gives you the best fidelity that you can get from Stadia. Not saying that the 4K on the web browser ain't great, but streamers want the best fidelity that they can give, and they get that from the Chromecast Ultra. And right now, trying to use the Chromecast Ultra to stream is too tedious. You gotta put in a HDMI splitter to get out the HDCP blocker and all this other crazy stuff, and it shouldn't be that way, especially in 2020. If you don't have crowd play available yet and some of the other stuff available yet, fine. At the very least, the most basic feature, streaming from your best fidelity format, should be made available in 2020. All right. Now, there have been information that has been given to us courtesy of platforms like Stadia Cast and so forth that have shown us leaks of where it looks like this stuff may be coming. It looks confusing how they're going to do it, so I'm urging Google, please work on that, make this thing seamless. Okay, you go somewhere to do a one-time setup, or you know your individual scenes have ID codes or something like that. Make this thing easy to do. because it's very important. If streaming from your Chromecast Ultra is too complicated, I think it kind of sends a ripple to the crowd play and everything else. People want to stream best fidelity possible. Make it possible, Google. Make it simple and easy. So that's number 3. All right, number 2. Cyberpunk 2077. Okay, this is where we're going to start getting really controversial because, as y'all know, your boy MM2K has been real big on this game. I've been very critical on the communication side of it. I've let y'all know that this is the biggest game as far as I'm concerned 2020, and I'll let you know how instrumental it is for this game to be on Google Stadia. You know what I mean? How big of a deal it is for Google and the platform altogether. Now, again, it's not number 1 for a reason. We'll get into that. But it is my most anticipated game of 2020. And again, as I stated earlier, there's been a lot of controversy surrounding this game, whether it's going to be day and date, whether it's going to be released several months after the fact. Well, with the latest revelations, at worst, it's coming 42 days later, which that's a stretch as far as I'm concerned, because the game releases November 19th, I believe, 2020. And Stadia and CD Projekt Red have stated that it's slotted to come the same year. So at most, it's going to come 42 days later. That said, there is evidence that supports a day-and-day launch with every other platform just on Stadia Gen 2.0. All right, go to broadbandbullies.com to see my article where I talk further about that, about Cyberpunk 2077 possibly coming day and date to the platform after all. That being said, being at worst, it's coming 42 days later. And the fact that now I can play this thing in great fidelity, great performance, 60 frames per second, without having to spend hundreds of dollars or $1,000 on upgrading a rig to do that. I can play it in a way that's going to likely be better than consoles, or even if it's comparable to consoles, I ain't got to plug in an additional $500-600 to get that, get that fidelity there. That for a maximum of $100 now, right? Because that's the cost of the Premiere. It's $100 or just $10 a month. I can get this great fidelity on the go at a maximum of 42 days later. This is going to be big for Stadia. All right. So with that, it's important that this game comes out slotted when it was supposed to come out. Okay. It's going to be the biggest game in 2020 for all intents and purposes. So that's why it's number 2 on our list. Now, number 1, this is where it really gets controversial. Y'all gonna start chucking bottles and Rotten Tomatoes on the stage. I get it. But y'all gotta hear me out. I wanna pre-warn you though. Y'all may think that my number 2 is a segue to number 1 being Gen 2.0. And I'm here to let you know, Gen 2.0 is not my number 1. Here's why Gen 2.0 isn't my number 1. Even though Cyberpunk 2077 coming either day and date or releasing 42 days later, I think is a big deal for the platform. Even if it's comparable to current gen hardware, I think it's going to be okay. Why do I think it's going to be okay? Because the sheer fact of the game just coming to the platform is big enough. And the fact that it's coming within the same year, 42 days later maximum, that's big enough. The biggest Achilles heel to a warm reception in Stadia right now is the games. I get a lot of people talk about performance and all this stuff. They are lying and they are being exposed by the moment. And you're hearing less and you're seeing less murmur from the liars. But the one thing that people are not lying about that we gotta admit to is that Stadia does not have the games. And even though we're in the data collection phase and we get that and we understand that and they're building on the platform, in order for them to start getting mind share, in order for people that know about the platform overwhelmingly start thinking positively about the platform, they got to get games. They just got to get games. There has to be games on a list for people to visibly see. So Cyberpunk 2077 just being there is bigger than Gen 2.0. Even if it's comparable to current gen, as long as there's a 60 frames per second mode, I think that's blockbuster enough. And then what we got to take into consideration is that Google has shown us, even with the last Connect, that their sole demographic, and I've been trying to tell you guys this, their sole demographic is not the hardcore gamer. It's partially the tech enthusiasts, which includes hardcore gamers, but then the casuals, the travel gamers. They're trying to court us equally. And actually the travel gamers or the casuals are in bigger numbers to us than us, the tech enthusiasts, so they're more vital to the platform's demographic. And that demographic is not worried about 4K 60 out of the gate. Why aren't they? Because they're not going to be getting next-gen platforms until 2022, 2023. They're going to stay with the current software, the current capabilities right now because it's cheap and affordable. So having Ultra 4K 60 on everything isn't vital right now as it is to court that demographic, as it is just having games. If you have games, you satisfy everybody. Now again, this is hard coming from me, a AAA 4K 60 enthusiast. I get that, but it's bigger than me. And the thing, you got to do a balancing act. If both of those parts make up your demographic, games satisfy both of those demographics. And that's why I say merely having Cyberpunk 2077 is my number 2, and number 1 isn't linked. It isn't synonymous with that Gen 2.0. Even though I think Gen 2.0 is important, it's number 4, but this is the top 3 list, baby. All right? It's not number 1. Now again, I did all that babble for what? To help start a precursor to my controversial number 1. What is that controversial number 1? YouPlay Plus. Look, hear me out, people. Again, just hold on to your ketchup bottles and your rotten tomatoes. Hold on, and your soggy potatoes. Hold on for a second before you throw the cabbage on the stage. Hear me out. Stadia's biggest knock is what? As I just babbled about, games. And also, it not releasing with a sub-service. YouPlay Plus kills that rhetoric. Okay? Because that's rhetoric that stings, it hurts. Because it's true. We don't have games. We got great titles. But when they say we don't have games, they mean we don't have a plethora of games. We don't have a great volume of games. Right? YouPlay Plus helps us kill that rhetoric. If at best released in its current state or released in a subpar state, which I believe would be, I don't want to say subpar, maybe that's not the right way to put it, but in a lesser state, at work, we could expect anywhere from 50 to 100 games to be released with YouPlay Plus as it comes to Stadia, okay? And those are 50 to 100 quality games. And that service will shoot down the Game Pass subscription services killer the Stadia narrative, because YouPlay Plus again adds volume, like how Game Pass has, and it adds better day and date content. Look, we just saw Halo Infinite get decimated. Halo Infinite is Game Pass Mandalorian for the next year or two. They really have nothing else that is really going to tantalize gamers at mass coming out until 2022, 2023. Halo was supposed to be it. Now, I'm not saying Halo's not going to be successful. Halo's going to do numbers, but it's not going to pull in the casuals and have that broad reach that Xbox expects it to be in this current state, unless they hold it back and fix it. But then that still if they do that, that takes it beyond 2020. And we're talking purely 2020 right here. They need YouPlay Plus. It adds volume, it adds quality content. One thing that its current competition doesn't really have. And even as far as quantity is concerned, the thing that the competition does have. Look, the content, even though it makes great water cooler talk, at best only a third of Xbox gamers have Game Pass. We've even seen articles where Aaron Greenberg admitted that Game Pass ain't really bringing in the cha-ching as people in the media try to allude to. So again, as great water cooler talk as Game Pass is, It's not hitting for everybody right now. Not until the day and date content comes in, and it looks like the day and date content ain't gonna be there till 2022, 2023. Their Mandalorian looks like it's fizzled as far as bringing in the masses. It's gonna do numbers, but it's not gonna bring in the masses. YouPlay Plus has that potential. You got Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you got Watch Dogs Legions, and you have Far Cry 6. Even if Halo Infinite was a banger, what else do you have coming to Game Pass day and date that has the potential of those 3 titles in YouPlay Plus? Nada. So again, YouPlay Plus is vital to the platform, the most vital thing to the platform, because it kills 2 major narratives that are true. No games, you know what I'm saying? No subservice. Now, again, Gen 2.0 will be the icing on the cake, but you gotta understand the demographic, y'all. I get this is a controversial list, but you gotta understand the target demo. I think it's a smart target demo if they do a great balancing act, but I think more important than some of the tech are the games. Games make everybody happy, and YouPlay Plus goes a long way to kill the narrative, which is true. And with that said, that's it from your boy MM2K. So let me know what you think about my list in the comment section below, because I know y'all gonna have a lot to say. Again, number 3, Chromecast Ultra streaming integration, Cyberpunk 2077, YouPlay Plus. Let me know, baby. Give me that work. Give me that smoke if you think I deserve it in the comment section below. Because like I always say, who cares what I think? But if you did like what I had to say, check out the links below to follow me. Those links will lead you to the Broadband Bullies, PNTS Network, Hard Knock Digital Culture, and yes, the Stadia Dosage. And with that said, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day. Peace.